lead editor David Burdett.
Well, I'm very full right now because I went to Buffalo Wild Wings for BOGO Thursday for boneless and got me a big thing of teriyaki Buffalo Wild Wings, and man, those were good. And I ate all of them, and I'm very full because of it.
You're a teriyaki man, huh?
Yeah, I do like those a lot.
Okay. Yes. I haven't tried the teriyaki at Buffalo Wild Wings. I tend to go for Buffalo.
Even better, the Honey Nut Cheerio crusted ones.
Oh my gosh.
I'm joking. I'm
that would be
joking.
gross. Somebody should actually. I mean, like if you do honey teriyaki, I guess maybe that could work.
Yeah, I know I've taken Cheez-Its and crunched them up to use on the outside of chicken before, and that's pretty good.
I've done that too. Yeah.
Noah Ansaldua.
The Witch Queen is here, and all of my awareness of what's going on around me in the real world is gone. I almost completely forgot about this. I was streaming. I'm in a different world right now.
I don't blame you. I am also in that world with you, but not as deep yet. So I haven't lost track of time. Are you enjoying it?
I am. I'm loving it so far. It's everything I had high expectations for it, and I still feel like it exceeded them. So yeah, like this raid that's coming up, it's gonna have some things that I could not have even imagined before playing the Witch Queen. So I'm super hyped.
Okay. My name is Anthony Shelton, editor and YouTube editor for Gaming Trend. I found my Super Smash Bros. 64 cart for the N64. Yeah. I am so happy. Wow. I was so sad when I couldn't find it in my little case of N64 games, and I was wondering, where was it? So, when I went to LA to watch the Rams-Niners game in the NFC Championship, I was at my parents' house, and I asked them if they had seen it. My mom had put it in a safe in our closet, so I had no idea why it was there, but it was there. I'm just glad
protected.
It was there. Yes, it was
under heavy guard.
Yes, so I popped it in, and I got the little colored bars for a while, but I got a can of spray, sprayed out the N64 with the air, blasted out the cartridge, popped it in there. Super Smash Bros. 64.
Woo woo.
Back in action. I was so happy. All right, let's move on to our icebreaker. All right, this one had to put a little story behind it. You're desperate for food. And I imagine we're all at the age where we're trying to eat a little bit better, but since we're desperate for food, what fast food restaurant are you going to? Noah, what's your stop?
I'm desperate for food all the time as a college student who...
so this is real for you. This is your story right now.
I'm busy doing homework. I'm playing Destiny 2 until 2 a.m. I'm like, all right, what do I get? In Alabama, in like a few southern states, there is one beautiful place called Cookout. And they have such cheap food, and it's actually pretty good. Like 80% of the time, it's pretty good. You can get a tray. Huh?
Have you gotten the other 20%?
I have, like from time to time, but it doesn't matter. I'm always going to go back. You can get a tray of food for like $5.20 or something like that right now, and you get an entree, so that can be like a big double burger or a Cajun chicken sandwich or a spicy chicken sandwich, which is like fried, or like a whole number of things, and then you can get two sides, and those sides can be like fries, onion rings, whatever. Like a ranch wrap, which is my go-to, because it's just a tortilla with a chicken strip inside it, and lettuce and ranch and cheese, and it's amazing. And that's all for $5, and you get a drink with that. So it's like the craziest value I can think of at a restaurant, or at a fast food restaurant. And it's always open. It's open till like 3 a.m. So it's perfect.
Not to mention, it's the only place I know of you can go and get a quesadilla with a side of quesadilla and another side of quesadilla.
Yes. Yes, you can get 2 quesadillas and then a side of 2 quesadillas, and that's amazing. You can do that with like hot dogs, so you can get 2 hot dogs and then a side of 2 hot dogs.
Which, admittedly, the sides are usually the smaller portion or whatever, but still, only place I know you can do that.
Yeah,
That's pretty fascinating.
yeah, it's pretty good.
All right, David, where are you going?
Well, this is kind of a combination of like I don't have a lot in my immediate area, but when my wife and I go on trips, there's always one place we end up stopping. It may not be the best for you food. It may not be the best food out there. In fact, it's probably pretty trashy. But I love a good Jack in the Box taco.
Oh, yes.
I don't know why, but there's something about that taco. I don't care about anything else on that menu. We will pull through. We'll get ourselves 6 of them, and it only costs you like $5 max for all 6.
For sure.
So it's not like you're paying a lot. We get all those, get on the road, just start chomping. It's good. It's good. If we want to go a little more high end, I like to get Chick-fil-A, but it's gotten to the point where it's very expensive. But the Lord's chicken is very, very good. And I wish they would bring back their chicken salad sandwich because it's the best chicken salad sandwich
they took it away?
had. A long time ago for us, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no like recollection of a chicken salad sandwich at Chick-fil-A.
It was actually my first job when I was 16. I worked there until I worked there for a year and a half, and then I went back and worked there for another year later on.
Wow. You said the Jack in the Box tacos. My wife raves about the Jack in the Box tacos also, and I don't get it. I've had the Jack in the Box tacos, and I don't get why the Jack in the Box tacos are so good to people. They're not great. The shell gets all hard extra quick when it starts cooling off because all the grease all over it, and then whatever's inside of it, it ain't meat. I don't know what the frick it is, but it don't taste like that great. So I don't know what people are tripping over the Jack in the Box taco for. I don't get it.
Tell your wife she has allies.
Yeah.
Oh, she knows she has allies. I heard you ain't the first person I've heard rave about Jack in the Box tacos.
Yep.
But I'm like, have y'all had some real tacos?
Yeah, I mean, real tacos. Yeah. Real tacos.
Oh, yeah,
amazing.
we're not saying it's better.
I know.
We're just saying it's a treat.
It's tacos from Jack in the Box. That's what I'm talking about. That's all I'm
saying. I think it's because it's so obviously. It's so obviously not a taco. That's part of what makes it so good. Like, it's straight up, like, I mean, it's got a slice of American cheese in the thing.
You should try their tiny tacos. Maybe those will turn you over to the side of liking their
Jack
tacos.
in the Box shouldn't have tacos. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
There was a taco place that started selling burgers. I was like, this world is backwards. I'm through with everybody.
IHOP started selling burgers that one time.
Well, they've always
Burger
done
King roasted them.
They've always done burger, like Denny's does burger, like whatever. Like I'm okay with IHOP doing burgers. The breakfast spot, like fine. You guys want to be open for long hours, you got to have lunch menu stuff. I get it. Tacos in Jack in the Box, they don't need tacos at Jack in the Box. They got a big enough menus. They don't need tacos. But apparently people love the tacos, so the tacos ain't going anywhere. Anyway, mine is I'm going to the Star. I'm going to Carl's Jr. That's where I'm going.
Otherwise known out here as Hardee's.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's Hardee's. I'm going to the Star. So I for some reason their burgers just hit better with me. It used to be Burger King growing up, and then when I got older, I don't know, the fast food Carl's Jr. That was it. It hit me. I think it's because they make it saucy. I like sauce, and they just spread it all over. They had those old commercials. If it don't get all over the place, it doesn't belong in your face. So they still stay true to that. And I like a little drip with my burger. So Carl's Jr. is my spot. I forget what the whatever their more expensive, not the Impossible Burger. Why is the Impossible Burger in my head? It's not that one. It's their other more expensive.
Definitely not the Impossible. That's Burger King.
Yeah. But they got some expensive burgers there now, and It kind of sucks because their lower end burgers, they're not great, but their higher end burgers are a little better.
Everybody definitely jumped. McDonald's ain't even a value at this point.
No, McDonald's has been garbage since I was 10.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to our trending news segment. So, there is a report that's out. It hasn't been confirmed. It's been denied, kind of, by Activision that Treyarch's Call of Duty will not be following up Infinity Ward's Call of Duty in 2023. It is being delayed to 2024. So this will be the first Call of Duty in 2 decades that will not be released in an annual. And when I realized that it's been 2 decades since Call of Duty has not been or has been annual, I was flabbergasted. I just didn't realize that it had happened for that long, that we've been doing an annual Call of Duty. I think it's the best thing to happen to Call of Duty, though. It needs a break. I think Treyarch's going to knock it out the park with the extra year. I think they're disciplined. I think they're going to put in the stuff that they want to put in there and perfect it as much as they can in the given time. I think it's going to be great. It's Treyarch. Besides Black Ops 4, the Black Ops franchise has been great. So I'm looking forward to it. David, where do you think this goes?
I think it goes the best way possible, really. When you've got a team like Treyarch and you give them an additional year, you're only giving one of your best teams time to make a game. They already had to push forward Black Ops Cold War, and as many issues as that game could have, it was still a really solid Call of Duty and made a ton of money. And that was with a 2-year development cycle. Now Treyarch, they've been spread around with some of the projects. They've been helping with Vanguard. They've been helping with some other different stuff. But the core team, if they get an extra year, then that's only better for the franchise. Not to mention it helps with the series fatigue that definitely sets in. I mean, like you said, in like 2 decades, we've not had a miss in Call of Duty throughout like this whole time. So giving it a chance to settle for a second, to figure some stuff out, that only is better. Ubisoft did the same thing with Assassin's Creed, came back with Assassin's Creed, which one was it? Origins, completely reinvigorated the series, completely changed up the series. I don't expect we're going to see something that ridiculous with the series, but anything that can give this series some extra life is a good thing. The biggest questions, of course, you have, Modern Warfare 2 is going to have to be an absolute banger, and Warzone 2 is going to have to be an absolute banger, because those two games are going to be counted on for the next 2 years to keep these gamers invested, to keep these gamers. You are having to take a risk of, do we lose any mind share by not being out again? But if you play your cards right, if you keep the content going, good content incoming into the game, we've all seen stuff like Destiny. You can delay something far out as long as you have something in the works to go with it. And there's even rumors of another unannounced title that's a free-to-play title that's actually coming as well from the Call of Duty teams right now, from some of the same sources. But it can work. They've just got to hunker down and do the work. You can't come out of this extra year off and have nothing to show for it. You can't come out of this year off and it seemed like you really didn't do anything with it.
So before you go, Noah, I just want to make sure the people understand. The Activision has said that, well, if all of this is true, what the people have reported, what they've heard from Activision, is that Modern Warfare 2, likely the name of it, will come out in 2023, and in between all that, there will be also Warzone content between the next, between Modern Warfare 2 and whatever Treyarch's going to do. So I think filling in the gap won't be as big of a problem because Call of Duty people tend to play both. They like their core Call of Duty and they like their Warzone. So when they probably get bored with whatever is Modern Warfare 2, they'll have some Warzone stuff to keep them busy. So I think that'll work. Go ahead, Noah.
And there's rumors that there's a DMZ mode coming that is going to be similar to Escape from Tarkov.
Oh.
So they're even coming up with some other ideas to inject something new into the franchise.
There you go.
And so would that DMZ mode be like tied to Warzone or to the game or to like Modern Warfare 2?
I don't know which one yet. I've heard both. I've heard that it's part of Modern Warfare 2, as well as I've heard that it could be associated with Warzone. So it really depends on where they're going with it.
Right. And then on like the free to play thing, just following up on that, like do you think or have the like I don't know what the rumors are, but if they were true, do you see that being like the 2023 here we're going to hold you over for now?
I could see that being it. I mean, the rumor is that it's free to play, and there's even rumors that maybe it might be something zombies oriented. So it'd be very interesting to see if that would be something they'd be spinning off. For all we know, the whole Escape from Tarkov DMZ idea might be the plan for the spinoff, but it really just depends on where they want to go. They could also figure out a way to get Call of Duty Mobile over to like have a version of Call of Duty Mobile on next gen systems because it's a multiplayer. It's got tons of old content, old maps, all that kind of stuff. If they could figure out how to get it on more newer existing engines, it would kill because it's raking in money because it's got all the classic old maps on it. It's got constant content. They even, I think, have done kind of like Fortnite, having like actual streamers that they've made as operators in the game. Oh. So there's a lot of ways that they could take that if they wanted to move that into the console space, the PC space.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, from my perspective, this is a great thing for Call of Duty. Probably. I mean, Treyarch has made some of the best Call of Duties to date so far, and I'm really hoping that this time like gives them what they need to make the campaign more interesting, more like a little deeper than the Cold War stuff. Because I didn't play Cold War, but I did watch some of the endings and. Like some of the story stuff that I heard about from my friends, I was like, man, that sounds really bland. And then the endings sounded cool, but like the bad ending was the one that sounded the coolest, which is like where
I wrote that in my review.
Yeah, the one where you're like essentially you essentially side with the Russians, right? And then they just kill you anyways, or something like that. I can't exactly remember, but like that was the most interesting thing. And then in like the true ending, it was just like a boring slideshow of like, this is what happened to this guy. This is what happened to this guy. That guy, oh, this is what happened to him. And it's like, oh man, that's the most boring thing I've ever seen. So I hope this gives them, some time to like return to the heights of Black Ops storytelling and maybe even surpass that because, it's 2022. We have some of the best, or, it will be 2024 by the time this game comes out. We have some of the best stories coming out in games, that like stories that rival, things that come out in movies and TV shows. And at this point, I think, Modern Warfare, I think as an Infinity Ward game, kind of hits that bar of telling like interesting, deeper stories. So it's time for Treyarch to have that game that actually shows us what they're capable of in like this day and age. And that time that they're going to get is going to be essential for that, I think. And also, I would love to see some more innovations in like the multiplayer itself, because so far the innovations have been like, okay, we're going to do this new thing where we give them essentially like a super or like this thing, and then a few games from there we're just going to abandon that. We don't really like that anymore. Or we're going to do like a little hover thing where you can like press A and kind of hover or like have a little extra jump, and then we're going to get rid of that. We don't really want to stick to anything. Like, I would like an innovation that they say that like audiences immediately say, oh, this is Call of Duty, this is here to stay, like this is what we wanted. And I haven't really seen any of that in any recent Call of Duty that's been like groundbreaking enough to be like, okay, that needs to be here.
Sorry, all I can think of is the slide cancel now. That is what Call of Duty's known for at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
I would love to see Infinity Ward get big enough to where they could work on Call of Duty, like the game, and then they have a dedicated team for Warzone, and then Treyarch have the same thing, except they have a live service zombies. That would be pretty dope to me, where they could just make an ongoing story and put new maps in and, different stuff like that. Like, instead of releasing zombies along with each Call of Duty entry, like, it's just this ongoing thing. Because the previous zombies have had like this story thread like throughout the whole thing. And it's like, just turn that into a live service. Like that. That'd be pretty dope. I don't know. I think I would be into it. Make it free to play, sell a few things here and there. I think that'd be pretty dope. What do you think?
Well, they're actually already been kind of experimenting with some stuff similar with, I mean, obviously all of the content has been free to play inside, obviously, the $60 game. But this has been the first year that Treyarch did zombies for Cold War. Treyarch's actually still helping with zombies for Vanguard, and it is actually a prequel story to what happened in Cold War. It's the first time they've actually connected the stories. So, not going to say that isn't already being somewhat tested out, but it's kind of already somewhat being tested out, even if it's not fully free to play.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right, so I have a theory, and I posted this on Twitter, and I want to get your thoughts on it. So, obviously, I think this is good for Treyarch. I think this is good for the entire franchise. What I think is this will be the Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty 2022, whatever, will be the last annual Call of Duty game. Because by the time Treyarch's Call of Duty comes out, Microsoft will have officially acquired it should everything go well. They will have acquired Activision and Blizzard and King. And so I think Microsoft may want to take Call of Duty to the next level in a way Activision has not been able to. And I think part of that may be giving Call of Duty a Halo and Destiny type of treatment. And what I mean by that is they can expand the universe of Call of Duty in a way and bring it to different mediums, entertainment mediums, in the same way they've done with Halo. They could also turn Call of Duty into not necessarily a long Destiny thread type of thing, but they still need to release their regular games. But instead of releasing games that you don't know what they're going to go next with the story and what wars they might, try to recreate and all this other stuff, they have a thread, say Modern Warfare, for example, where you can follow Captain Price, maybe going back to bring back Soap, bring back, Ghost, all these like beloved Modern Warfare characters. And they can have like this long string of games where they can kind of or create their own drama per game. And so, people need a reason for to keep coming back to Call of Duty, and campaign is usually a thing people will play Call of Duty for. And of course, you're going to have the multiplayer, but to keep the interest abroad for those who do only play campaign, you have something that's more dramatic, because war is dramatic. You got love and loss, you got betrayal and friendship, you got, all that kind of stuff. And so Treyarch can do the same thing with the Black Ops franchise, bring it back to a starting point or, continue it from wherever and just keep this thread going and almost make it like this long, like per game soap opera almost. And there's new things to enjoy. And then Microsoft can branch all that stuff off and turn it into a different entertainment media, TV show or, whatever the case may be. What do you guys think of that?
Very well could. I know there's rumors that Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, that's what his movie's going to be, is a Call of Duty movie.
Oh, wow.
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
I guess that would be kind of fitting. I don't know what that would look like. I would think Call of Duty would fit better as a TV show, but, movies are the thing. So I don't know how that would work. Call of Duty movie. But I guess that could work.
You got to have Michael Bay direct it, pretty much.
Yeah,
Breach.
That
that would be
recreate
pretty
all
dope
this stuff.
though. Just like yeah, like a sequence of someone like breaching in and doing the slow mo thing that Modern Warfare games do. That would be awesome. Like just to watch, kind of like a Quicksilver sequence in the X-Men movies, where it like kind of slows down everything, and you just see the carnage in a slow tracking shot. That'd be awesome. Um, yeah, no, I think that's a great move if they did that. Just because Call of Duty is like so. I feel like it's a household name and something that's breached through like the gaming world to the larger like pop culture into larger pop culture more even than like Halo because Halo's still got that sci-fi thing to it and like people are weird about sci-fi but Call of Duty's just war and people are just like aware of what Call of Duty is like if you ask someone, hey, what's that violent shooting game where you just like shoot random people? They're either going to say GTA or Call of Duty. They're probably going to say GTA first, but Call of Duty is in that conversation.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just kind of a no-brainer to be like, well, let's put it on Amazon Prime or whatever. Let's make a show. Let's make the movies, and people will definitely watch it. Um, and I think that's a great move if they do that. Just it's kind of a no-brainer.
That's my theory. I'm putting it out there. Clip this moment. We'll see if it happens. And if I'm right, you gotta subscribe. All right, let's move on to our next story. PlayStation VR 2 is a thing. And there's not really a ton of information about it, but they have shown it. And they have shown that it is designed after what the PlayStation 5 is. So it's got that, sleek white and blue with a little bit of black going on. And it's redesigned controllers as well. And those have been redesigned to fit in with the way the PSVR 2 looks. And so I've used the PlayStation VR. I used it to play Astrobot. Friend had it, and I love Astrobot. That game was dope. So that to me was like, okay, something could go with VR. I was on the fence, but I was like, I enjoyed this. So okay, I see this, but I don't know how much the PlayStation VR has caught on with the broader PlayStation fan base. So how much better do you think the PlayStation VR will catch on compared to the PlayStation, or the PlayStation VR 2 will catch on compared to the first one? Noah, what do you think?
I think it's got more potential as like a piece of hardware than the PlayStation VR because PlayStation VR launched pretty well into the PlayStation's console, the PlayStation 4's console life. So PlayStation VR 2, it being a thing that has been talked about, at least buzzed about since the PlayStation 5's announcement and like it coming out, it's been able to like garner some more hype for it. And I think now that people have seen, okay, Sony can make pretty good VR games. Let's see what their next gen of VR is. And I think that's an interesting thing for people, especially when you tie that into like the first PlayStation VR 2 game being Horizon, this new Horizon experience, which we don't really know about. But I think once we do see that game, like once we finally see what that game offers, if it's good, that could be the thing that says, okay, maybe I'm gonna get that PlayStation VR 2 around holiday season. Maybe that's what I'm gonna ask for, or maybe I'll try and snag it on like Black Friday. Also, I think another part that makes the VR2 a little more stomachable for people is that it has a lot less of like a setup time. It's just got the one cord, and after that, you're pretty much set and you're good to go. Also, like among like VR enthusiasts, the controllers, I think the first iteration didn't have like great controllers. And this one is definitely like a step up. So yeah, I never got to really use the PSVR one. Like I used it on my stepbrother's setup, and I played like Super Hot like twice, and it was fun. But yeah, I did notice that like the wires were like pretty cluttery, and like it didn't really look like sleek, and even like the headband and stuff was kind of clunky compared to like how like the Quest 2 is, for example. So I'm super excited to see this. And yeah, that's another thing. Like the Quest 2, like everyone has one. Like for some reason, like I don't know why, but like, just like random like friends of my family will be like, "Oh yeah, the kids are just like on the Quest." And like that's like bonkers. Like that's insane to me.
Facebook, so more
Yeah.
people, they understand Facebook.
But that means that like VR, has entered the zeitgeist in a more like in a bigger way than it did when the first VR was out, PSVR was out. So I think that maybe even that will sort of make the VR2 more of an option or more of a visible choice for people that have a PlayStation 5.
David, you're the Mr. PlayStation.
Oh, when it comes to the VR2, I think it's right on the threshold. Like, this is definitely going to be something that tells us where VR can go. Because casual VR, Facebook's got the casual VR market. It's simple. You literally buy one setup, you're done. You can play everything from their store. However, cordless. However, there's not a company out there, at least in my mind, that is doing it like PlayStation, that has the pure gaming support, the pure ability to create experiences for a unit. Nobody has the studios like PlayStation does, the franchises like PlayStation does, to make great experiences for VR. So they have a lot of potential in this thing. It's obviously the price, a lot is on the price. If it comes out at $500, people are going to have a hard time stomaching it. I think it's probably going to sit at the $399 that it was with the previous model. Don't quote me on that. It could still be $500 because I know the bundles were $500 with everything last gen. But prices have come down on some stuff. They've changed it. There's not a processor in the box that's needed anymore. It's just the one cable to your PlayStation 5. These controllers are going to be one of the biggest game changers of anything, because these controllers, they're going headlong into what they're doing with the DualSense. They're going with the haptics. They're going with the adaptive triggers. So the whole idea with PlayStation's DualSense is when you pull the trigger, you feel the tension as you pull the gun. What happens when you've got a VR headset on and you're holding out that controller and pulling it?
I'll tell you.
It's
you won't see what you're doing.
it's gonna feel. There's gonna have that feel, that tension, that the haptics of all of it is gonna change the way it feels. Supposedly, there's a motor inside even the headset itself, so there's gonna be a little bit of feeling even on your head. One of the things that I will say as a glasses wearer, PlayStation VR is one of the most comfortable headsets for glasses. Like, they actually designed it intentionally so that it would be able to fit for people with glasses.
Really?
Yep. I don't know if you had issues with it, but for the most part, it has always fit my glasses. And I consider myself to have somewhat of a large head, so I've but I've always liked the comfort factor of it, and it looks like they're still trying to focus on that. Just having it so that it's not like we're like the Oculus, it just hangs off the front of your head. You're kind of just having to have everything kind of held onto there. With PlayStations, they try to distribute everything with the way that the headband works and everything. And hopefully, I think the cumbersomeness of it is going to be offset because it's just that one wire now as opposed to this huge setup. So it's going to make things a little bit easier. And especially the fact that it's got front tracking cameras. You're not having to hope that you don't accidentally fall out of frame from the PlayStation VR camera that was up over your TV, where you literally couldn't turn around.
Yeah.
That messed everything up. So, not to mention just the specs on the thing. 110 degree field of view. It's going to have a resolution of 2000 by 2040,000 on each eye. And the frame rates are going to be 90 to 120 hertz. So they're going all in. That's one thing for sure. They've even got vents on the headset to keep it from getting all foggy and whatnot on you. So they've gone overboard on trying to figure this out. It's on the threshold. The question is, as always, do people care enough about VR that it's going to become a humongous thing? Are there enough PS5s out in the wild that this is going to be able to be a huge thing? Because it does require a $500 piece of equipment. However, even the best VR in PC requires a really good PC. So it's still a cheap entry into the best VR. Is the easiest way to put it. It's a cheap entry into the best version of VR.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. PSVR 2 is so good you can feel yourself sweat while you're sweating. Yes, sweating while you're playing Sifu, while you're actually sweating while playing Sifu.
I can't wait to play that Horizon game. I actually talked with the GameStop people today when I went in, and I was like, okay, so I'm gonna start putting money on a very expensive item to order it, so you can switch that over to the VR2 whenever that's available.
Wonder what Sifu would be like in VR. That'd be kind of crazy.
It would be.
All right.
I got punched in the face. I can feel it.
Is that blood? What is happening? All right. Got a bonus topic. So, Elden Ring has come out and people are raving about it. So many people are raving about it, but there's been a discussion come up, and I feel like we are appropriate people to talk about this topic. The idea of reviewers finishing a game before they review it. It's somehow this discussion has come up again because there are some people who truly believe that it's come up again. It's not the first time, but there are people out there who believe that it is okay not to finish a game before you review it, or at least put out an official review and have not finished the game. So, David, you're our lead editor. How do you feel about this?
So, I actually had a fun talk with one of our newer people because they asked me that question, trying to get a read on how things work and whatnot. And I was like, absolutely, you should always. That should be what you strive to do every single time. Understandably, it's not going to always happen every time. You're not always going to finish a game. But there are multiple things that you can look at and you can make a decision based on that. That would be whether you do a review in progress, which is, hey, this is where I'm sitting. This is what you can expect of the game. You can do impressions. I do not agree with the fact that you should score a game if you're doing a review in progress. Like I understand doing if I had to give it a score right now.
Yeah.
But that should not be an official score. I do not agree with that because you could run into something at the very end that totally destroys your experience. Now, that being said, I do think that there are some games that you do not have to complete, so to speak, to give a valid review on them.
Now, by complete, you mean like 100%?
Yes. Yes. Like if it's a story game, I do think that you should be striving to get the narrative out of the way. There are some games, like Souls kind of games, I can at least with Elden Ring, story is not paramount in these games.
Yeah.
You play the first 35 hours of it, I'll be honest, I'll probably go ahead and give it to you because it probably ain't changing that much between hour 35 and hour 60. That's a personal opinion. I do not call that this is everyone in the world that should agree with this kind of opinion. I think there are some games that it doesn't matter as much. However, that should always be what you strive to do is to finish a game if there is a point of being complete, so to speak, with story elements. And the biggest thing with it is story elements, because story elements, that's what people are looking at. With other games, like for instance, Halo Infinite's multiplayer, there's not really a finishing it, so to speak, even if the battle pass would count as that. You just play as many matches as you can and give an impression off of what those matches are. The fun thing is somebody's going to come to that impression a year later and it's going to be completely different because they're going to have balanced the game again. So it really just depends on the game. there are some games that are very reliant on story. Horizon, I had to abandon a lot of side stuff because David realized he was stuck in the opening area for 8 hours because he was trying to do everything. And I was like, crap, no, I need to finish the story because unless I review it based on the fullness of this story, it's not right in it. Whereas with Returnal, I'll be honest, I did not complete every single little thing with the story. However, it is much more of a interpretation with the story comparatively.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on the complete, like, there's rarely an excuse to not finish a game. If you are reviewing a game and you are scoring it, you need to finish it. And by finish, if you're playing something like The Coming Wonderlands, there's going to be a billion side quests. I don't think you need to play every single side quest to play the, but you do need to beat the game. You do need to experiment with different guns. You do need to play quite a few side quests. You need to play a lot of side quests so that way we can get an understanding of how useful the side quests are, what kind of loot that comes with it. Those kind of stuff I can get not 100%ing the game, but you do need to beat the game. You need to roll the credits. That needs to happen. When it comes to hard games like Returnal or Elden Ring, or even something smaller like Sifu, and I'll give Sifu as an example. I pretty much had my thoughts ready to go for Sifu. Like, if I were reviewing the game as I was playing it, I still take notes, even if I'm not reviewing a game, just to stay in habit. But I pretty much had my thoughts. And then I got to the final boss. And then it was like, I have added thoughts. Because I thought the final boss was great. And I also thought it had some issues that circumvent everything that you've done in the game. If I stopped with my thoughts by the fourth boss, I would have never experienced the final boss, and I would have never had those thoughts, which could help shape somebody's understanding of the game and whether or not they should invest their time into it, because potentially by the time you get to the end of the game, you might feel like your time was wasted because of the way some of these things worked out. So when it comes to something like Elden Ring, no, you still got to finish the game because, the first 35 hours are great. But the next 35 hours, something could happen. Or you might get clarity on something that you've been experiencing. Or you might experience more or less of. And you might realize, man, this feels good at hour 35, but this is starting to be a crappy moment by hour 60. Like, different thoughts happen as you continue to play a game. And that's true for anybody. Like, as you continue to put more hours into something, you're going to feel different about it. We just don't have the time to play a game forever. Unfortunately, with this internet age, we have to meet an embargo so that way we can get, people as many eyeballs on it. Because when you guys are interested in this stuff is when stuff starts coming out. So if you put it out 2.5 months later, because you put in 130 hours into it and you got like the most complete experience. You've done everything. You've 100%ed the game. All right. Who cares at that point? They've either bought the game or they've already made their decision. And most people have already made their decision anyway. Most of the reviews are just really for fans at this point. And they just want validation of what they already believe about a game that they haven't played. So it's still imperative, though, that if you're getting paid to do this and you are putting a score on it, you need to finish the game. Otherwise, there is review in progress and there are impressions that you can use instead of, and people have grace. Like, they're not going to be tripping. Elden Ring's a very big game. If a reviewer couldn't finish it and did a review in progress, people got grace for that. They understand. And then by the time
ours is a review in progress.
Yeah. Exactly. So people got grace. They're chill. They'll read the initial thoughts and go, okay, we'll see what it ends up being at the end. Many times, it doesn't change. Sometimes it does as you get more information. But that's the point. You got to have all the information before you finalize your thoughts on it. And that's the big thing. Like, people are coming into it expecting you have complete thoughts. You've experienced dang near all of it. At least rolled the credits. So I think it's disrespectful if you don't give the people what they're expecting. No.
I think in an ideal world where reviewers have more than 1 week to play a
Yep.
80 plus hour video game, then yes, I think reviewers have to finish the game.
And let me go ahead and throw in on that. Sony has been fantastic at providing early code. I got Ratchet and Clank about 2.5 weeks before. Ratchet and Clank you can finish in 10 hours. I got Horizon Forbidden West 2.5 weeks before. Plenty of time for me to work on these games. I think Returnal's the only one that came in a little bit late in the cycle compared to those, but it was still longer than
And what was a
some
little bit
companies
late?
did.
Like a week?
I don't remember. I don't remember. It might have been a
Okay.
week and a half.
Okay.
Compared to how good
Right.
Sony is usually at giving us code.
Right.
So it Sony's about the closest to ideal. I got Deathloop 5 days before embargo. Thank goodness I was doing it in co-op with with other David.
Yeah.
Who's a machine and literally played it for 5 days straight to get the review out because he finished the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think in an ideal world, you have all that time to play, then yes, you definitely need to finish that game. If it's Elden Ring, 2.5 weeks would be great because a 40-hour work week, you can get it done. But with like a 40-hour work week and you're only playing Elden Ring, like so many of us are part timers. This is the part timers
Yep.
podcast. If I
Yep.
was reviewing Elden Ring, I would not make it till the end. I would not physically be able to do that. Um, that being said, we're not in an ideal world. We're in a world where we are dictated by embargoes and SEO, like search engine optimization. We want to be at the top of the results. And to do that, you need to have those words, those 3 golden words, Elden Ring review, on your title, like right there. And you need to reserve that space. And that sucks. But it also is just, the reality of where we are. And I think that being said, if you have played at least like 40 hours of this game, you do know what it is. And I think you can say, this is a review, I'm going to score it. But that doesn't mean you can't say at the very beginning, hey, I didn't finish this game. I played 40 hours of it. This is my experience with it. This is not indicative of everyone else's experience of it, but this is my review in the end. So this is what I'm going to score it based on that. I think as long as your review is based on your experience and the facts of your experience, that is still your opinion. That is still like therefore like a valid thing that you should get out there and you should be able to write about. Because I see like people with disabilities who play games that are not accessible to them, and they can't really progress a certain way. They can't progress through certain things, and they still score it. And I think that's valid because those are people that have experiences, and that was their experience with it, so they're going to score it based on their experience with it. And I think that's fine. And I think that's the same for like anyone who's playing the game and couldn't physically play it because they didn't have enough time, or because that's just the embargo came and they had to do it. I think that's just how it is, and I think that you can do that, but as long as you are like being fair in your review, that it's okay. Yeah.
I just add this one quick little story. It's about Sony again, funny enough. When I was back with another publication, I randomly I hadn't asked for it, just had gotten in contact a long time ago with Sony of, hey, we'd be interested in whatever kind of stuff. And I ended up with a review code for Days Gone a week and a half before the game came out. I don't think I actually got to it before it was a week before because of just different stuff going on. My sister was having her kid and all that kind of stuff. I put like 35 hours in over a week. I remember going home, playing the game until like 4:30 in the morning, almost crying because the game's not over. At this point, I don't remember what day and it was. I remember waking up it was the Tuesday. I woke up. I went to sleep. Woke up at 7:30. Went to work. Worked my shift. Went to church. Did my thing at church. Came home and played until I think it was like a couple of hours was left because an entire other section of the map opened up, and I was like, "Oh, please no." Um, I finished the story, finally sit down. I'd already been writing like a lot of times what I will do is I'll write out a lot of my gameplay impressions because a lot of your gameplay impressions, that's the fun with this is you can go ahead and get a lot of your what you're thinking out on paper and just be like reserve kind of a spot for the story of hey, okay, let's wait before I finalize what I'm saying about the story. But I got it all done up at like 2 a.m. Then woke up at 8 a.m. the next day waiting for that sucker to go up live. Then went straight to watching Avengers Endgame. I was tired as crap after all of that.
I believe it.
But it does prove the whole thing of, man, we've got to get this stuff. People need to start getting stuff to us in advance, especially when it's large. The biggest thing is the large games. They don't follow the same week as getting a hold of Death's Door, for instance, which I can finish in. I have like 2 or 3 games. I've sat down on a Monday that I've been off. I've played the entire game all the way through and then written the review in a single day. Why? Because it's a 6-hour experience. I can finish it that quickly. I can if anything, it's easier. I finished it all in one go. Everything's fresh in my brain. I can write everything out. But yeah, bigger experiences you need so much more time with.
Yeah.
Agree with Noah.
That's one more thing is that like I didn't mention is that while you're playing a game and it's like pretty obtuse in like the way it signals things to you and like maybe that like that's a problem. Like if that led to you not finishing that game, then I think that's a pretty valid thing to talk about in your review if you didn't finish the game. And I think it's a pretty valid thing to score it off of. Like as you're playing a game as a reviewer, you're not like a average person who gets to use guides that are all up on different sites and like say exactly what you should do on this part or like this is how you handle that part. Like
Lord Returnal was that way.
There are so many games that don't signal to you as a player, or maybe you're just not receptive to it. Whatever the case, like there are so many games that just that do not hold your hand at any way, or not even hand holding, but just like game design guiding you towards.
Sometimes you just get stuck.
Yeah.
That was
and I think that's
for me.
Yeah, well, that was a game for me that I don't want to talk about, but it just led to a bunch of problems for me where I was like, yeah, this game is not good, and it really just leads you to beat your head against the wall. And I think that's like a valid experience that you should be able to talk about. I didn't handle that very well. I didn't talk about it very well. But if I did, like looking back at it, I know how I would have handled that review.
All right. Good discussion. Let's move on to our apples to apples segment. All right, what have you been playing? The score currently, we're all tied up at 4. 4s all around. So who is going to go on top? Somebody will have 6 by the end of this, I think, possibly. Or maybe we'll all just give each other numbers again. So, David, we'll start with you. What have you been playing?
How about what have I not wanted to be playing?
Gee, I wonder what.
So I've been playing
Forbidden West.
I just went from the best review score I've ever written to the worst review score I have ever written. Ever. I was playing Crossfire X, and it is as bad as everyone says it is.
Okay. Noah, what are your 3 words for David?
I've got thanks, I hate it. Unfortunate name, unfortunate game, and don't blame Remedy.
Don't blame Remedy. All right. My 3 words are bomb. Worst game of the year. Needs a remedy. David, what are you going to choose?
That's a tough one because it definitely came down to the wordplay with Remedy, but don't blame Remedy is going to end up winning out on that one.
Oh, all right.
Because I really hope people don't blame them on this one. It is this game is The review just went live, so if you'd like to check it out, it's on gamingtrend.com right now. You can go and see why I hate it.
Read it for your entertainment.
It's mainly the fact that I am so ridiculously disappointed in the fact that this was not good. I'm a FPS military shooter person. Love playing them. I did not realize things could be worse than Battlefield 2042. Did not realize it. I actually said the bar has been somehow lowered. Like, how again? How do we get 4 first-person shooters and one of them actually lives up to expectations, and then of course it goes and has an extreme lack of content afterwards?
Mind you, it's advertised as the biggest first-person shooter in the world.
The biggest disappointment of a first-person shooter in the world, at least over here. I don't even like. I just read. If you want to laugh, go read the review.
That's how bad this is. Like you're tired as you talk about this game. Like I can see your shoulders drop. You are becoming fatigued as you think about this game.
I'm frustrated. It's frustrating, and I literally say in the summary, I do not plan on touching it ever again.
I don't blame you. How fast did you delete it when you finished the review?
I still need to delete it. That would have been extra effort to put into Crossfire. So
it's like a virus for you right now. Get it off your console. What do you even play it on?
Xbox Series X is what we got it on.
Okay, wasn't sure if you played
runs
it on
pretty
PC.
well. Do not play it on quality mode, because it's not of quality mode enough to be quality. Play it on performance.
What?
Play it on performance mode. It's the 30 frames ray tracing is so clunky and chunky, and I don't even talk about that in my review because I just got to the point of this review is just going to be me beating it over the head with a stick. And
poor thing.
As my mama said, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it. And I said enough bad things in that review.
Fair enough. I have been playing maybe a game that's on the redemption train. Not quite so much with Crossfire X, but Cyberpunk 2077. David, what are your 3 words for me?
Mine were, you're breathtaking. 60 frames of Keanu.
Okay.
And mods. All
right. Noah, what are your 3 words?
Mine are Cyber Meh 2022, Nomad for Life, and Missing That Special Something.
Okay. David, I do like your Keanu references, but you have 2 of them. Too many Keanu references. So I'm going to go with Missing That Special Something. So that's 2 points for Noah.
He's 6. Rolling it today.
He's rolling. He's hitting the spots. So if you want to talk about having, not finished a game, I only played 2 hours of Cyberpunk 2077 of the available 5 in the demo, and I just didn't want to play anymore. I entered the world, and I was like, "Ooh, I want more of this. I want more of the world. I want to talk to people. I want to get to know the characters. I want to experience more of this." I stopped playing because the gameplay wasn't great. Like it didn't feel good enough as a game. As a person who enjoys third-person and first-person shooters, it felt too clunky. It didn't feel like looting was. It didn't feel like the looting part was fleshed out well enough, or at least maybe the way the UI is. Like it all kind of feels a little clunky. It's not terrible, but it just felt a little clunky, knowing I come from, Borderlands and Destiny and The Division, and those kind of games, they've got it all worked out. Even a game like New World, which is a fully big old MMO, like I feel comfortable with those mechanics in it. Cyberpunk 27 just felt a little too clunky for me to just be able to jump in and get at it. But I really did enjoy the world. Like if I didn't have to actually play the game, and if it was more walking simulator, like I'm good. Like I would go for it. Like when the game is at its highest quality, it does look good. There are areas where posters are strangely pixelated when other posters right next to it are just like clean as, as you would look at any other sign. Some stuff is clunky. Obviously, there's still some bugs, but I only played for 2 hours, but what I experienced, it felt good. It really did. But man, playing it was just like, this doesn't feel right. Even playing on a controller, like you could tell it was made for PC. I don't think they got gamepad controls down well enough. Like you have to make so many tweaks in order for it to feel right. You play Call of Duty, you play Halo. They feel right. Destiny feels right. This, way too many tweaks I needed to make shooting on a gamepad feel right. So I wish Cyberpunk 2077 the best, but maybe I'll come back to it when I have like a bunch of free time. Right now, I don't need to play anymore of it. I got Destiny 2 to play. I got other games to play. So I wish it the best. I hope other people are having fun with it.
It's sad. I've owned that game 4 times and still have it on 3, and I have yet to progress much further than like 5 hours.
Yeah. Would you say your complaints are similar, not so similar?
I think some of it was just there's so much other out there that I would rather play. That's the sad thing.
There's a little bit of that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's so much else. It's like, this is fun, but I could be playing this.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I did feel a little bit of that too. All right, Noah, what have you been playing?
Before that, I want to say one more thing about Cyberpunk. When I was playing it, I was like, okay, this isn't the RPG I wanted. And now I've been like, okay, maybe I could come around to like the ARPG, like the action aspect of it now.
Yeah.
But then thinking back on like my experience with it, it just wasn't good gunplay. Like the gunplay did not live up to even like Fallout 4 level gunplay, in my opinion. Like Fallout 4, the feedback on like the pistols and the machine guns and like the pipe rifles, it all felt better than like Cyberpunk's combat does. It just feels very like this is what I think gunplay would be in a first-person shooter if I made one. Like it doesn't feel like it translates well to the player, and that's like my problem with it, because it isn't like that is your main focus. It isn't like the choice-driven world-building stuff that it promised. It's the combat. So it could be way better in my opinion. Yeah, so I've been playing Destiny 2: The Witch Queen, which is the best gunplay in any game ever. That gunplay it's pretty much
beautiful. It's beautiful.
It's solid. Bungie
somehow gets the smoothest gunplay into their games. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
All right. My 3 words are Savvy-thune, best campaign, and Destiny Strikes Back. Sci-fi references. David, what are your 3 words?
I went with Vaultiest Boy, Witch Queen Wilson,
okay,
and Savathun Pwned, because man, she was out there dishing it out on the Twitterverse.
She was.
Oh, she was.
She found Twitter and was like, I can use this.
I'm gonna go with Destiny Strikes Back because that's exactly what this is. Yeah. It is Destiny saying, "Oh, you thought we were done? You thought we were a dead game? No, actually, we are. we continue to be on the cutting edge of first-person shooter PvE gameplay, and we're gonna show you why we're actually the best." And I think that they've been doing that.
In all fairness, the only people who thought that game was dead are people who are silly on Twitter, considering that game has tons of people playing it.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But those people do still exist, and I think the Witch Queen, they are. I think the Witch Queen is just some of the like the puzzles and the mechanics it implements into the game, I was yeah, towards the beginning of the game or towards the beginning of the campaign, I was like, I don't know if they're keeping that promise that they made me that this was going to be Doom and Doom like inspired and God of War inspired. But towards the end of it, I was like, oh, I see that influence. I see that influence. I see this influence. Like crushing the Hive Ghost, it feels very Doom finisher, like pushing in like an eyeball or like things like that. It feels like that, and it captures that like visceral part of it without being like overly gory because it's just you're just smashing something.
Yeah,
yeah, and it's really well done. And then the God of War stuff came in, maybe not in the way you'd think, but in my opinion, like it was God of War because it was like, okay, there's a puzzle where you have to kind of look for things around the world, like in the God of War puzzles where you'd have glyphs that you'd have to find, and you'd have to hit them with your axe, and then you can move on to the next area, or you can open the chest. So there's like that kind of thing, and then the last the last mission of the Witch Queen specifically was like, this is what Destiny could be in every campaign going forward. Like this is the level of story mission we're going to get, and it feels amazing. I'm not going to spoil that because it feels. I think it might be.
Yeah, because I haven't finished it.
It might be the last two missions, but there is one encounter that I was like, man, I don't know what I'm doing, and then I was like, wait, that I have to like look at that, and then that tells me what to do, and then I was like, oh my gosh, that feels like amazing when you get that when it clicks for you. It felt so good. Um, Aside from that, Void 3.0 is the new like subclass rework, and it works so well. Um, like Void has never felt better. I think it's the best subclass in the game now because it feels like what they did with Stasis, they just applied it to my favorite subclass on like the Warlock and made it even better. Um, the story itself is really good. It's filled with some twists and turns. Deborah Wilson as Savathun is incredible. She like lends a real weight to Savathun, and not just weight, but also like you kind of feel some things that you didn't think you'd feel for Savathun as you progress. You can interpret that, but if you play it, you'll know what I mean. And the same thing for Marge, as Ikora Ray. She's taking over from, I think, her name, Gina something. I can't remember what her name was, but she's from Firefly. And I think Gina Rodriguez or Gina Gonzalez, I can't remember. And she was, phenomenal as Ikora Ray. But Marge, is at that same level, or she steps it up even a little bit. She's amazing, or they're amazing. I'm not sure, and it's a great performance. Like the cutscenes also are animated like top notch. There are some cutscenes that are like okay, typical Destiny cutscene, but when the good cutscenes come on and they're like visually stunning, they're beautiful. There's so much detail. It's incredible. This is like truly, I think, Destiny's definitive campaign and also Bungie's definitive campaign. Like, I do not think there's a better Bungie campaign out there, like including Halo 2, 3, and Reach. I think this is it. And that's something I believe like entirely. I'm already playing it on my other two characters. I'm already playing it through the campaign just to experience it again with friends this time on Legendary because that Legendary campaign is amazing. Yeah.
All right. High praise for the Witch Queen. Even some extra praise for Savathun in particular. Interesting. I am anxious to get to the end of it. Hopefully I can do it this weekend. All right, that's it for us. Appreciate you listening and or watching. This is the Part Timers Podcast, and we will talk to you next week.